everyone, welcome to the Bear Necessities. I'm Bear, and this week we're going to be making Snickerdoodle cookies. Now, in the past we've done chocolate chip cookies. I've done a quickie video for chocolate chip cookies that I haven't released yet. I just haven't found the time because editing. We have done English muffins, pancakes, brownies. We've made so many different things in my kitchen, and this week we're going to be making another of my all-time favorites. Now, these are a whole wheat cookie that we're doing this week, and I've done a whole wheat blend. You can use all whole wheat if you want. The texture is nice and crumbly and absolutely delicious. I mixed a little bit of all-purpose flour into my flour this week because I want them to still have a little bit of a chew to them. And so what I have here for your ingredients is I have a cup of whole wheat flour and then half a cup of all-purpose flour just mixed together. We have 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar. I use dark because it's my favorite. You can use whatever you have. This is a teaspoon of baking powder, or if you don't have baking powder and you randomly have cream of tartar, you can do half a teaspoon of cream of tartar and half a teaspoon of baking soda, mix them together. That's baking powder, more or less. And then we have 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. You can use caster sugar, it'll be just fine. We're going to be doing a teaspoon of just regular salt, 1 egg, and then a stick of butter, which is 4 ounces by weight. Finally, we also have our cinnamon. I didn't have any like regular, just plain old cinnamon that you buy at the store, which is great. Like, it's really familiar and warm. But I randomly have Ceylon cinnamon. So I ground up a couple of sticks of it because doing just one in this thing is noisy and terrible. But you only need a teaspoon. I'm going to be using a tablespoon because, again, I really, really like cinnamon. This week I'm going to be using also a teaspoon of vanilla paste. You can use vanilla extract. Let's get things going. You're going to start by creaming your butter and your sugars together. So you're going to have your 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar, your 2 tablespoons of regular granulated, and then your half cup, 8 tablespoons, 4 ounces, or 1 stick of butter, or butter substitute. I'm going to get that on the mixer because this week my arms are exhausted. So we're going to let Loretta here do the work. And we're just going to let her whiz this up together until it's light and fluffy. You want to see the sugar and the butter get together and become really light pale yellow. And once it's at that point, we will add the egg and the vanilla and continue going. See you back in a second. Alright, so my butter and my sugar are nice and fluffy, so I'm going to go ahead and add my egg. Remember, never crack on the bowl because you might get shell, and good luck getting it back out. Alright, and then our vanilla paste, and you only need a teaspoon if you have vanilla paste, teaspoon. If you have vanilla extract or even imitation vanilla, I don't judge, it works beautifully. Use that. It's going to be 1 teaspoon no matter what. And now that we have that in there, let's continue whipping this together until it's extra light and fluffy. You may have to scrape down the sides of your bowl if you're using a stand mixer. You can mix these by hand. It'd probably be a heck of a lot faster. But this is what I'm doing today. Perfect, that is nice and fluffy and light. So, now that we have that there, let's go ahead and add our cinnamon. Now, so a teaspoon of cinnamon, if you like just a little bit of cinnamon. I'm using 3 because I want it to be potent. So, now we have our cinnamon in there. We're going to add our baking powder or our baking soda and cream of tartar mix, depending on what you have. our 1.5 cups of flour, and remember mine is 1 cup of whole wheat and 1/2 cup of all-purpose. You can use all whole wheat in these, or you can use all whole purpose. That is up to you. Going to add our teaspoon of regular table salt. So I'm gonna mix it maybe another minute, minute and a half. All right, and we'll be right back. Get a small bowl. I'm using a ramekin or a plate, whatever you have. And you're going to put a teaspoon of cinnamon, just a sprinkle of salt. You don't want much at all in there. So let's go ahead and add a tablespoon of sugar. This recipe does not make a huge amount of cookies, otherwise just double your cinnamon sugar. All right, just get that mixed up. Let Loretta step out of the way for a moment. And we're going to go ahead and scoop our cookies. I'm using my little scoop. This is just this is an ounce, so 2 tablespoons. I'm just going to scoop a cookie ball, and then in your impeccably clean hands, you're going to roll the ball up, drop it in your cinnamon sugar, and roll it around until it is lovely and coated. It doesn't have to be caked on. And let me grab one of my baking sheets, and we're just going to pat it down slightly just so they don't roll everywhere. I'm going to be able to get about 8 cookies on this tray so that they can spread nice and evenly. But let's just continue scooping and rolling and get our cookies ready to bake. Go ahead at this point and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. All right, so I have 16 cookies scooped, rolled in my cinnamon sugar, and now I'm going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to switch them top to bottom and rotate them around, and then bake them for another 5 minutes. That gives them a nice crisp edge with a soft, chewy center. If you like yours a little bit more crisp, add another minute, maybe a minute and a half total. Not to each side, you'll burn them. So I'm going to pop these in the oven, and I will see you back in about 10 minutes. Alright, so our cookies ended up baking for exactly 10 minutes, so 5 minutes on each rack. Flipped them, turned them around, and they came out perfect. I have let them cool for 10 minutes, and they have a nice soft center and a nice crispy edge. Lots of cinnamon sugar. That little hit of the salt on the outside just adds that much more. I hope you enjoy making these as much as I did today. Remember, keeping it simple in the kitchen is the key to be able to do more and more of what you want to try. It can build your confidence, and it's a lot like how it is in life. We do little things, pick up new skills, learn a little bit more, practice, practice, practice. Keep going until we get it just right. And then we move on to the next thing and use those skills we already have. There's so many other things that you can try. Just look around. You'll find your niche, your home, your place. Maybe it's behind the oven, making cookies and cupcakes. Or maybe it's out in the world, speaking the truth and doing justice. Small steps, either way. Until I see you next week, bye.